The planets, the stars, they also belong to the mental plane because they have a form. But what about fire? It has a form, but not a very clear form. So in fire, we have a very peculiar relationship where you have a form and you don't have a form also. Therefore, in Vedas, the Agni Sukta, which is known as the Vedadi Sukta, deals with the mental plane. Wherever there is a fire, remember you are talking about the higher planes of mind. This theosophy divides into two parts, the mental plane as the abstract mental plane and then as the concrete mental plane. When you use a word, remember it becomes concrete. Because when you use a word, it conveys a form. When you say a pen, even though it is a word, it conveys a physical, clear-cut picture of an image. But when you say love, when you say compassion, you are using a word, that means it is something concrete, but still it is very hazy. So these hazy concepts are what is known as Agni, fire. Agni means Agre Tishtati Nayati, which leads you being in the forefront. You have a compassion, that compassion leads you to do some great works of service. So, compassion is an Agni. You have a hatred, the reverse is the case. But anyway, it is an Agni because Agni means something abstract but which is very close to the concrete mental plane. Let us remember this division of the abstract mind and the concrete mind. Now we come to the next higher level, which is known as the Buddhi plane in India and the intuition plane in theosophical literature. And in this plane, we have the most perfect need of touch. The characteristic approach of this plane is touch. This touching may not be physical. We say you touch the great heights of mentality. We touch the great heights of spiritualism. Wherever you use the word touch, it indicates you are in the plane of Buddhi. And then we go to the plane of Atma. In this plane, it is the words, the sound which dominates. So, the most important thing which Theosophy has given to us is this approach towards the planes of consciousness. Where you are conscious of the words, you are in the Atmic plane. Where you are conscious of the touch, in its widest meaning, not only a physical touch. When you are able to touch a thing, a particular concept, it is also a touch. It belongs to the Buddhi plane. And when you are able to visualize it, when you can form a form of it, a rupa of it, you are in the mental plane. And when you can taste it, you are in the astral plane or the Kama plane. And when you can really smell it, you are in the physical plane. So this concept somehow we Indians have also forgotten. The planes have a specific tanmatras. Matra means measure, tan means that. So tanmatra means that which measures. So the physical plane is measured by smell, the astral plane is measured by taste, the mental plane is measured by visions and forms, and of course here in the mental plane we have the two divisions where the form is not yet formed and where the form is formed. And then we go to the very specific higher levels of wisdom, Buddhi, where it is the touch which matters. And then we have the next higher plane which is formed by sounds. These sounds are what is known as logos. So these 5 planes are what make the prapancha, our universe. That is why our universe is called that it is made up of these 5 things. The sounds, the touch, the rupa form, the taste and the smell. But we have 2 more states. One is known after the spiritual world or the Atma, what is known as Anupadaka. That is, it has no vestures, it has no clothing. And beyond it is what is known as the Adi plane. So when the solar logos wanted to create this visible universe, he started with the Adi plane. Now you understand the sweep of the Adi plane? We just can't visualize it. We just can't understand it. We can't put it in words. That is why about which nothing can be said. That is what Madame Blavatsky writes of this plane. And slowly from that plane, the plane you always remember is a great sweep extending to God only knows to what areas. Then comes the second great area, the plane, which is known as the Anupadaka. And then comes the next plane, which is known as the Atma. Then comes the next plane, which is known as the mental plane. And then comes the plane, which is known as the Kamamaya plane or the plane of taste. And then we come to the physical world, which is known as the smell world. Why I am stressing so much on the plane is, a plane is not related to only one dimension of space. The physical plane, we may call it as having a sweep of 3 dimensions. So wherever in this great universe, how many light years far away it may be, if it is in the 3-dimensional world, it is in the physical plane. So the sweep of the planes must be understood. A plane is something very vast, but having a particular nature. Similarly, if you go to the taste plane, the astral plane, it is 4th dimensional. And whatever object in the 4th dimensional is, it is in the astral plane. Now that we have understood what a plane is, let us come to anthropogenesis. That is, the planes are now crystallized into a form of a man. This concept of interrelating a man with the cosmos is given in our texts as Purusha Sukta, but Blavatsky calls it anthropology, the formation of man. In the formation of man also, in the development of man also, in the growth of the man also, we find the same 7 subdivisions. That is why Madame Blavatsky says the greatest formula if you want to understand nature is as above, so below. So just as the solar logos has divided himself and put himself down into the 7 planes of consciousness, similarly the human being also comes down to this planet in 7 layers. We are not very clear about the Adi plane of the human being and the Anupadaka plane of the human being, except that Madame Blavatsky says this Anupadaka level of consciousness which descends into the physical matter in the form of a human body is the real consciousness of man. The body is only his vestures so that he can gain certain experiences. Just as the solar logos has delved into these 7 planes, we also delve into the 7 planes at the Anupadaka stage as monad. This monad comes down into the Atma plane, into the Buddhi plane, and into the mental plane.